Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Manojavam Marutatulya Begam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Anjana Nandanam Veeram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapishamakshahantaram Vande Lanka Bhayankaram. It's a wonderful verse glorifying Sri Hanumanji as the son of Anjana Devi. Anjana Nandanam Veeram. Very, very powerful, heroic. Janaki Shokanashanam. One who removed or eliminated Sita Devi's sorrow and lamentation, which is all in Sundara Kanda. Kapisha is the lord of all the monkeys, the Vanaras. Akshahantaram, the one who killed so many Rakshasas. Vande, we offer our respects, obeisances, prayers. Lanka Bhayankaram, one who made the entire Lanka filled with fear. It's a very apt verse for beginning Sundara Kanda. I cannot tell you how excited I've been the entire week being in the association of all of you wonderful souls, eager to dive into Sundara Kanda. When we say the word Sundara, obviously the straightforward meaning is something that is, or someone that is understood to be beautiful or worthy of seeing. However, beauty in that sense is relative. It's in the eye of the beholder. But when an entire set of human beings over millions and millions of years have the consistent opinion that something or someone is Sundara, then it is not subjective anymore. However, one may wonder that all the Kandas in the Ramayana are named according to the context. Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkindha Kanda, Yuddha Kanda. And by the name itself, we know the context of the storyline. However, suddenly here, Valmiki Rishi calls it Sundara Kanda. He just says the beautiful canto. So one may wonder why or what is the meaning necessarily in Sundara? Why does it mean All this while, Ramayana is not beautiful. Of course, very beautiful, exquisitely beautiful. Is it that after Sundara Kanda, Ramayana is not beautiful? No, it's very, very amazing also. So in Sanskrit, obviously, when something is not fully clearly understood, we have to derive meanings from it. And then there are wonderful reasons why. So in Sanskrit, there is a phrase, Nashta dravyasya labhaha hi sundara parikirtitaha. Something is called parikirtita, means becomes famous or becomes known as Sundara when something that has been lost is found again. So in this case, this Kanda is Sundara Kanda because this is the momentous Kanda where Sita Devi, who has been lost, kidnapped by Ravana, is found by Hanumanji. And because she is found, the word Sundara is very apt. And over the thousands of years that the great acharyas have commented on the Ramayana, there is a verse that is very famous. And it goes this way. Sundare Sundaro Ramaha. Sundare Sundari Katha. Sundare Sundari Sita. Sundare Sundaram Vanam. Sundare Sundaram Kavyam. Sundare Sundarah Kapihi. Sundare Sundaram Mantram. Sundare Kimna Sundaram. The last line says, what is there in Sundara Kanda that is not beautiful? Everything. And gives a list of everything that is beautiful in Sundara Kanda. So the first one is Sundare Sundaro Rama. Of course, Ramachandra is the most exquisite, handsome, is beauty personified. However, hearing it from the lips of the most realized and most intimate servant gives us a glimpse of how they absorb in the beautiful form of the Lord. In this Kanda, Hanumanji, for about 95 verses, in 95 verses, there is a discussion of between Sita Devi and Hanumanji, 30 some verses, 34 or 40 some verses, are nothing but Hanumanji's glorification of the form of Sri Ramachandra. And the form of the Supreme Lord is so enchanting that the entire humanity across all 14 planets are enamored by Kamadeva or Cupid. But millions and millions, tens of millions of Cupids are enchanted by the Supreme Lord. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya. Millions of Cupids are enchanted by the Supreme Lord. Vishesha Shobham, very exquisitely beautiful. Then Ramachandra is called Pumsam Mohana Rupaya. Ramachandra's beauty is such that even the sages who have completely overcome any material desire are immediately drawn and attracted to Sri Ramachandra. And they themselves are surprised. How is it that we have controlled our senses for thousands of years, but when we look at you, all sorts of amorous feelings are awakened in our heart? Of course, we also hear Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Beauty is because Ramachandra is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. His form is completely transcendental. And we'll hear more. Sundare Sundari Katha. The storyline in Sundara Kanda is of very special importance. It's the storyline of Sri Hanumanji going into Lanka. Then there is the whole episode of searching for Sita Devi. Parts of it are humorous, parts of it are scary, and parts of it are such that they evoke anxiety in our heart, the same anxiety that Hanumanji had, searching for Sita and not able to find her. And finally, the joy and celebration of finding her. And there are mixed emotions, because on the one hand, he finds her, but he finds her in such a pitiful and pitiable condition that his heart is completely shattered. Then speaking with her, then he goes and meets Ravana, faces off with him and all his Rakshasas. So there is some real chivalrous exchanges. Then the burning of Lanka, amazing lessons in each of these aspects. And then Hanumanji returning victorious, Sri Ramachandra. In fact, in Sundara Kanda, we will find the transformation of Hanumanji from being the servant of Ramachandra to becoming the servant of Sita Devi. Actually, he becomes very, very advanced. And there are words and phrases that show us that. And so this whole Kanda is so beautiful that the more one hears, there is one feeling of dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction that it's not enough. I want more. Of course, whether I'm able to evoke that in you and ourselves, that's to be seen. But the scripture by itself is such that it will evoke, I'm very confident, it will evoke the sense of dissatisfaction or a greed, because greed is always something that never, greed is opposite of satisfaction. And this greed is a healthy greed. And so if any one of us feels this sense that, yeah, not enough, I want more, then we know that we are in the right direction. In Srimad Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, first canto, the very, very first chapter as Bhagavatam opens, we hear the phrase, Muhur raho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Muhuraho. Again and again, the rasikas, the ones who are interested in tasting the Bhagavatam, not just hearing it, but tasting it. Hearing, everyone does. Tasting, very few fortunate souls do. We are all hoping, we're praying, begging, falling on the ground, pleading Sri Hanumanji to give us this micron of taste, that we can actually feel it from hearing this wonderful katha about him while he is in full service of his amazing lordships, Sri Sita and Ramachandra. So in the first canto, 19th verse of first chapter, the sages who have met Suta Goswami, they start hearing a little bit and they say, Vayam tuna vitrapyamaha. Tripti means being satisfied. When we eat, we're satisfied. But greed is such that although hunger is satisfied, the desire to taste more is not satisfied. That is why, although there is a very strong connection between the tongue and the stomach, for people who are greedy, gluttons, that connection is broken away. So the tongue wants more and the stomach says, enough, enough, but the tongue cannot stop. Similarly, these sages, their connection between the ear and heart is very strong, but they are saying, Vayam tuna vitrapyama. We are not at all satisfied. Na vitrapyama. Uttama shloka vikrame. In the Yat Shrunvatam, when we are listening to, when we are hearing the glories of Uttama Shloka, because he is extolled in the best, choicest of verses. And his activities are fantastic, Vikrame. We're experiencing Rasagyanam, the knowledge of the Lord's pastimes, his relationships with all of his devotees is churning in our heart similar rasa. Swadu, swadu. We are tasting it at every step. Pade, pade. In Sanskrit, when the word comes twice or repeated one after the other, it means continuously. Swadu, swadu, pade, pade. At every step, we are relishing. So they say we never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead who's glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. It is going on increasing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Vardhana means to increase. Ananda Ambudhi Vardhana. The ocean of bliss keeps on expanding. For us, or for me, it may not be an ocean. It may be a pond, it may be a well, it may be water contained in a calf's hoof print. But hopefully the hoof print becomes bigger. And it will, not just hopefully, it will. That is the power of Sundara Kanda. Sundari Sita. Now Sita Devi, how to express her beauty. We can express it in a negative way in one sense. The negative way is that Ravana, who has the power to enjoy any woman anywhere in the 14 worlds, he had not even seen Sita Devi, he only heard about her from Shurpanaka. Shurpanaka's description of Sita Devi was enough to incite so much amount of attraction, although negatively. Instead of anukulya, it is pratikulya, that it drove him mad. Not in one head, all 10 heads, it drove him mad like anything. To such a degree that he could not hear the warning of Maricha, the warning of everybody else that this is a bad idea. But the lust was so strong. Then what to speak of when he saw Sita Devi? Although he came in a disguise, he could not maintain that disguise. And against her will, carried her away, which is coming up in the first verse where we'll discuss, perhaps not today, about this carried away. The word is nitaya. Now, for Ravana, we can say, oh, he's a lusty fellow. But Sita Devi's beauty is such that great kings, she is the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. If a fraction of hers appears as Lakshmi Devi from the churning of the milk ocean, and all the demigods and great lost complete consciousness when they just saw her beauty for a moment. It's not worldly at all. Every little limb of her body is exquisite and beautiful. Not just beautiful. Can't describe. Language becomes very limited. However, in Sundara Kanda, when Hanuman sees Sita Devi, she has not bathed in one whole year, 10 months actually. Now we all know by not bathing, it removes the luster in one's body. But not Sita Devi. She had not bathed. She had not combed her hair. She had not applied any cosmetic. She had not decorated herself. She was wearing one garment that was also soiled because she was sitting on the bare ground and her head was lowered in complete pain and she was constantly crying. We all can imagine if a person is in that condition, how they look. But when Hanumanji saw her, he was stunned that how beautiful she is. And her beauty is not just in her form, but her character as a very devoted wife and devotee of Sri Ramachandra. Her beauty in this kanda is demonstrated by her unflinching love for Sri Ramachandra. And here's just a very, very quick summary. That in the 10 months, Sita Devi had not raised her head to even glance at the beauty of Lanka. She was in the most beautiful place in the entire world called Lanka. And in that, she was in Ashokavana, which was superlatively beautiful, which we will hear. I mean, it is, and even Hanumanji is like, wow, what a beautiful place. But she had no attraction for it. In fact, she had shunned all of it. Now, Hanumanji, who is such a sense-controlled person, so his taste naturally, for a person whose senses are controlled, their tastes are very refined. Even Hanumanji is like, wow, what a Lanka, what a place. And when he sees Sita, that she has complete indifference for Lanka, he becomes so enchanted and attracted that what a wonderful personality Sita Devi is. When Ravana comes to talk to her, she does not even look at the fellow. Although he has come with 500 of his queens, all just gotten up from bed after all the reveling and drinking and enjoying. Only then he understands why Sri Ramachandra feels such separation from Sita Devi. Up until that point, he had not the full grasp of it. In fact, there are verses, there's one particular verse where Hanumanji says, yeah, Sita Devi is the perfect match for Ramachandra. In fact, she's a little more qualified than Sri Ramachandra. That same Sita Devi who's sitting there appears differently to Hanuman and to Ravana. To Ravana, she appears as death personified. That's why Ravana is very careful. He's only trying to manipulate her. And the same Sita appears as the supreme goddess, the consort of Sri Ramachandra to Hanumanji. So that is why Sundare, Sundari Sita. Now the interesting thing is in the entire Kishkindha Kanda, we don't see Sita Devi anywhere. But she is there in every verse, she is there in every chapter, and she is the person that's completely permeating in the Kishkindha Kanda. We don't see Ramachandra in Sundara Kanda, but he is the person who is in Sita Devi's mind, who is in Hanumanji's mind. Constantly, we will feel the presence of Ramachandra in the entire Sundara Kanda, although we may not see him at all. He never speaks in it. We don't very at all. Only until the beginning of Yuddha Kanda, until when Ramachandra appears again. Sundare, Sundaram, Vanam. This Lanka is exquisite, especially Ashoka forest. Now, although it is called Ashoka, Sita Devi is full of Shoka. Janaki Shoka Nashanam. Only after meeting Hanumanji is that from Shoka she goes to Ashoka. So the idea is not how beautiful the place we are living in or not living in. It's how much association of saintly persons we have that decides the condition of our heart. This Lanka is so awe-inspiring that Vishwakarma himself had created it for Kubera that Ravana stole. Ravana stole so many things and so many persons away. It's very beautiful, charming. The charm is actually that Lanka is the material body. And for every person to more or less, to a larger degree or a lesser degree, the body is the most enchanting possession that one has. And its charm is its beauty. And every human being, every living entity is so enamored by his or her own body or by someone else's body that absolutely nothing else comes into the person's vision. Aham mameti. Ahankar, vimudhatma aham mameti. And this beauty or the dazzle of matter is blinding, captivating, enthralling, and worthy of coveting. And that is why Ravana coveted Lanka. And in that, he kept his most coveted possession, Sita Devi. Sundare, Sundaram, Kavyam. Poetry is exquisite. In fact, there is nobody in the history of mankind that is so gifted at alankara, decoration of language, in terms of the choice of words, the phrases being used, the idioms, the similes, the metaphors. No one has ever imagined that Valmiki can draw such parallels. And he has put all of that in Sundara Kanda. And having Valmiki as inspiration, all other great sages have become empowered in writing poetry, whether it is Kalidasa, Tulsidas, anyone. They're all somehow or the other empowered by Sri Valmiki, who's an incarnation of Lord Brahma, who's been gifted, empowered by the Lord to describe him in such beauty. Now, we're only getting 24,000 verses. So Valmiki has taken something that is 1 billion verses worth and condensed into 24,000 slokas. So every word, every syllable is carefully chosen, perfectly placed, like the most exquisite piece of jewelry. Nothing is wasteful. There's nothing extra superfluous in Ramayana. And some acharyas describe that Sundarakanda is narrated by Valmiki as beautifully as a female lover teaches her male lover poetry. There is never a harsh word. For teaching whatever lesson, there is no harsh words. Even Sita Devi, who wants to tell Ravana, she speaks strongly. Even in her strong speaking, it is filled with love for him. Love in the sense, compassion for him. Valmiki may not make direct comments, but there are precise meanings, hints, words and phrases chosen to tell us an excellent story. A good storyteller doesn't necessarily spell out everything. They stitch the story in such a way that the reader has to put two and two together. It's a great story for children. It's fantastic for a teenager because it shows or teaches young people determination, discipline, uh, and being focused in accomplishing an objective in life. For a young adult who's ready to get into family life, Sundara Kanda teaches the importance of respecting women or the danger of disrespecting women, the lesson of how the love between husband and wife can be modeled after Sita and Ramachandra. For one who is in midlife, Sundara Kanda teaches how to identify what are the real priorities in life. Because sometimes midlife, they call it midlife crisis, where priorities become completely entangled and mistaken. And for one who is in the prime of life, Sundara Kanda teaches the path to reach the Supreme Lord. So Sundare, Sundaram, Kavyam. These phrases, meanings, idioms or the whole language is meant to churn the heart with full of emotions. Actually, everyone has the emotion, those emotions, but when they're churned, they come out as, when the hearts are churned, these emotions come out as this soft, beautiful butter. In Sanskrit, it is called Navanita. Krishna loves to steal that butter, Navanita Chora. Sundare, Sundaro Kapihi. The word used here is Kapi. Kapi is a monkey. Generally, beauty and monkeys are not associated together. However, in Sundarakanda, Hanumanji's beauty, of course, his form is very, very handsome, and there are verses describing that. However, Valmiki is not just interested in mundane beauty. The real beauty is what's in the heart. A person can be very beautiful externally, and we all know over time that will fade. The real beauty to cultivate is the beauty of the heart. Because Krishna steals, or Sri Ramachandra steals the heart of the devotee, not the body. Ravana steals the body. See, in this case, Ravana has stolen Sita Devi's body and brought it to Lanka, but her heart is with Ramachandra. That no one can steal, because that Ramachandra has stolen. And a beautiful heart steals Ramachandra also. So Hanumanji, by his service attitude and his ability to serve the Supreme Lord, is so exquisite that Sundare, Sundaro Kapihi. Then the reason Hanuman is considered Sundara is that his determination, one, to go to Lanka. When all of his other fellow monkeys have fallen short, that they are not able to go, or they are somewhere scared that Lanka can enchant them, they may not return. Or Hanuman overcame so many obstacles. He became very humble. He was focused. He was diligent, strong. All of these characteristics show Hanuman's beauty. Another reason Hanuman, or Kapi, says Sundare Kapi, that Hanuman's speech in the Sundara Kanda is very, very special. But not once, but multiple times. Hanuman's conversations with the different people will show us how a devotee of the Lord behaves, or specifically in speech, in all circumstances, because speech is nothing but a reflection of what's in the heart. Some people can sugarcoat it and hide it for a while, but it's their speech that reveals. It says that it's speech that reveals a Pandita, and it is speech that reveals a complete fool. Hanumanji being the Pandit of Pandits, we will hear how he speaks to Mainaka, how he speaks to Surasa, Lankini, Simhika. Then he enters Lanka, how he speaks to Sita Devi, how he speaks to Ravana. All full shades of wonderful speech, all about Ramachandra, all in different contexts, but amazing. Hanuman's speech is such that it removes Sita Devi's sorrow. Sita Devi is ready to commit suicide. She cannot tolerate the separation from Sri Ramachandra. Her distress cannot be understood by anyone. In such condition, Hanuman brings her cheer, joy, and happiness. Without touching her, without anything coming close to her, Hanumanji can remove her entire sorrow. When the interaction begins with mistrust, Sita Devi cannot trust Hanuman. She thinks it is Ravana. She thinks it is one of the Rakshasas that are all playing in the hands of Ravana to manipulate her into somehow agreeing to accept Ravana's proposal. And Hanuman each time comes out as the great hero. Sundare Sundaram Mantram. In fact, it is said that in Sundara Kanda there are many, many verses that act as potent mantras, that one who recites these verses find great strength, both for navigating day-to-day life in this world, at the same time feeling a strong connection with the Supreme Lord. The very first verse of Sundara Kanda is a mantra. Tato Ravana Nitaya Sitaya Shatrukarshana Ye Shapadamanveshtum Charana Charitepati. Excellent verse. We'll come to that. Sundare Kimna Sundaram. What is not beautiful in this Kanda? Everything, every aspect, language, this thing, that thing, everything, story, beautiful. We're not done. In Sundara Kanda, we hear about the Saundarya of Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. That Sita Devi asks Hanuman, does he even remember me? And to that, Hanumanji answered, remember you? The complete agony and distress that the Lord is in for you is undescribable or indescribable by me. So it's not just the living entity feeling separation from the Lord. The Lord also feels, and that is his beauty also. Jiva Saundarya. Sita Devi's beauty, that she is parallel to be a living entity, Jiva, as part of the storyline or the philosophical line, that the Jiva's beauty is that the living entity may be placed in the middle of all sorts of attraction and temptation, opulence, but that surrendered soul whose determination is to stay at the feet of the Supreme Lord will not be attracted by any amount of temptation. Now that's a very tall order, but that is our nature. And it inspires us to come to that place where anything in this world that it is within the modes of nature becomes pale and unattractive. That's the taste, because the taste lies right at that margin between mundane and transcendence. And we're all hopeful that Sri Valmiki Rishi, the Acharyas, our spiritual masters, want us to traverse this river called Vaitarani and cross across the other side, where that lovely taste of rasa, of relationship with the Lord awaits us. Sundara Kanda is called a Kanda where there is Acharya Saundarya. The entire Sundara Kanda is a glorification of Guru Tattva. Just told in the storyline, but it is all there, hidden. How can one not be beautiful? One who dedicates one's life for the benefit of someone else. In this entire Sundara Kanda, Hanumanji jumping across the ocean, meeting so many obstacles, fighting Rakshasas, burning Lanka. What does he gain? Nothing. It is to bring Sita Devi to it is Ramachandra's gain. It is Sita Devi's gain. Hanumanji gets a big, warm embrace from Ramachandra. That is the greatest gain. And that is what the spiritual master or Acharya or both Siksha and Diksha gurus are looking for the benefit of others. They may not get anything actually in return. And such personalities that they are there in our lives is the greatest blessing that anyone can aspire for. So Acharya Saundarya. Sundare Kimna Sundaram. Are we all ready? I'm going to pause here for today, see if there are some questions, comments. I'm sure each one of you has heard. This is not the first time you're hearing the word Sundara Kanda. If you have something that you've heard about Sundara Kanda you want to share, please Please, fill my begging bowl with that nectar. Any reflections, thoughts, comments, please share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is Kirti here.
Yes, Kirti.
First off, many happy returns of the day. Wish you happy Krishna conscious birthday, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for taking the class every Saturday and giving us a preview of the nectar. You were talking about Rasika in the class. You are that person who enjoys Ramayana so much, and we are aspiring to somehow or the other get that taste. Thank you for
Rasika wannabe someday, some lifetime, basically.
Two things from you. One, I heard somewhere that Valmiki wanted to name Sundara Kanda something else, or around Hanuman or something. I forget what it was. And Hanuman objected to it. And later, after some thought, he said, I'll name it Sundara Kanda because everything is beautiful, especially Lord Rama, Sita, and everything. And when Hanuman goes back to meet his mother, Anjana Devi, eventually, in due course of time, she calls him Sundara. And Hanuman takes, he was surprised and he asks her, why you call me that? And she tells him that when she got the blessing from Lord Shiva, he said that you will be blessed with a beautiful boy, Sundara. And before they named him Maruti, for some time they used to call him, and childhood pet name was Sundara. So that was one. Second thing I was thinking while you were explaining, that monkeys by nature are very passion driven and they're very fidgety. And Lanka naturally is so enticing and beautiful to the point that anyone can be distracted, not just monkeys. But here, Hanuman, despite all odds, both internal, external, everything was against him in terms of carrying out the mission. But he remained so fixed and determined. He overcome all odds because of the grace of Lord Rama and his chastity to the purpose. That was very inspiring. That in itself was very Sundara.
So thank you. That's a beautiful one. Let me ride on that and say, Hanuman and Lord Ramachandra show us that to become attracted to the Lord and become completely dedicated to him and Sita Devi, one doesn't have to be encumbered or feeling that the body that they have is not suitable for it. Monkeys, bears, tribals, rakshasas, even they found great attraction and lifelong service to Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi. So bhakti can break that barriers of unfortunate birth or not congenial bodies. One may think like that, but it's not encumbered by that. Vultures also.
Thank you, Prabhu.
There's a beautiful verse by Rupa Goswami that he quotes in Padyavali. I wish I can memorize that verse, but I don't know. I'll find it and post it on our WhatsApp group about the devotion that Lord Krishna can extract from any living being, whether they are in human form, this form, that form, animal form, doesn't matter. He's able to connect with them. I'll find that. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Happy birthday. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. I second Kirti Prabhu. At least for us, my family, we have got interest in Ramayana, it's all because of you. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your wonderful service. And regarding the Sundara Kanda, you were telling the immense benefit of, overcoming the fear, right? When we read Sundara Kanda. But I remember before coming to Krishna consciousness, reading Sundara Kanda, like for all material benefits, right? And I have seen many people still doing that, anything you need, read Sundara Kanda. So what's the outcome of it? Is it for both like material, or I know one should read Sundara Kanda for spiritual benefit?
I mean, there is no harm in seeking material benefit. I mean, if we have to be genuine, honest, every living being, every human being, including, I would say, most devotees, look for material benefit as well. Nothing wrong. I mean, we want good health, we want financial security, we want proper food, we want a nice place to stay, we want to have a safe car to drive. These are all material. But the material facilities have a purpose. That what distinguishes the devotees from those who are not is that these material things have a purpose, that they are meant to facilitate a higher purpose. That is that paradharma. So Sundara Kanda can fulfill, if Sundara Kanda can fulfill only spiritual desires and cannot fulfill any material desire, there is something limiting in Sundara Kanda. If one says, oh, the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Lord Narayana or Lord Krishna, Ramachandra, Narsingadev only fulfill spiritual desires, it's a limitation on the Lord. They can fulfill anything. Depends on who is going and what they are asking for. They are called Kalpavrikshas. So Sundara Kanda is also a Kalpavriksha. It's up to the person to know what they want and what they are asking. So yes, Sundara Kanda fulfills material desires. Actually, in a devotee's life, the term material should slowly fade away, because there is nothing material, depending on how it is used. If a person sees something as material, it is called vibhinna drishti. They see separation, that this is matter and that is spirit. And the idea is everything is to be spiritualized. And through the process of bhakti, we see that it is this potency of the Lord only manifests this way and that way, depending upon one's vision. So some people say, oh, you have bad health, recite Sundara Kanda. Oh, great. I mean, doesn't Krishna say, Chaturvidha bhajante maam jana sukritino Arjuna? Sukritis, they're all called people with good merit, although they're coming from artho artharthi jigyasu jnani cha. Fine, doesn't matter. How one approaches the kalpavriksha, the wish fulfilling tree, is not a limitation on the tree, because that tree can transform anybody's heart. So yeah, some people say, oh, for this, for that, great. Somehow or the other, Rupa Goswami says, yena kenava, this way or that way. If you approach Hanumanji, you approach Sundara Kanda or Sita and Ramachandra, no problem.
Amazing. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances and worship Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. I wish you a very happy birthday, Prabhuji.
Oh, thank you.
Prabhuji, like the point is Sundare Sundaram Vanam. So you are mentioning like the place become beautiful by the association of the devotees and acharyas and the devotees of the Lord. So if you can elaborate more, Prabhuji, on that. but like how we should seek and
Well, Lanka is very beautiful, no doubt about it. Sita Devi was not attracted to it. Hanumanji was not attracted to it. Ramachandra was living in the forest. In fact, Sita Devi tells Ramachandra later in Uttarakanda, "Oh, I wish we can go back to those days in the forest. It was so wonderful." Um, and they had a wonderful time there. So some people can be in this place and be unhappy. Some people can be in the most exquisite lap of luxury and be unhappy. Some people can be in the lap of complete scarcity and be very happy. Some people can be happy here. So it's not about the place or the things. Kaikeyi, living in Ayodhya in the middle of all the royal palaces, was not happy because Mantra had put in her head that what you have is not enough. What you will have in the future will be less than that too. So yes, physical place is important, no doubt. That doesn't mean we ignore it. We only can act to the level of our realization. But most people can live in a small house with bare necessities. If they have very loving people with them, those things don't bother them. And some people can be in big palatial houses and be very lonely. And some people can be in big palatial houses with a lot of loving people and be very happy. So it's not the place necessarily. And the whole Bhagavad Gita teaches us that, Ramachandra teaches us that he was happy, whether he was happy when he was in the palace. He was happy when he was in the forest. Doesn't matter. Okay. Akhiladhara Prabhu, is that okay for you? There's a text here.
Ji, thank you.
Mother Sita spoke some hard words with Lakshmana to send him to the forest when she feels Lord Rama was in trouble while chasing the golden deer. Is it true? Yes. After hearing the inner beauty of Mata Sita today, it is difficult to digest. True. And for that, I would recommend that you go to our recordings of Aranyakanda, where we hear why she spoke the way she spoke, how she spoke, how Lakshmana took it, and how the pastimes unfold because of the way she spoke. And next week, when we talk about this verse, Tato Ravana Nitaya, we'll touch on it again. Okay, Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, Sanatan Goparaj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, happy Krishna conscious birthday. Actually, your this discourse is very nice. It turned me to nostalgic because when I was in college in Tamil, the Kamba Ramayanam, one of my Tamil teachers, he took so nicely. I used to relish. Kambar was supposed to be the best poet, and the Kamba Ramayanam is supposed to be best literature in Tamil.
Yes.
And yeah, really nice. It just I became so attracted by your lecture. And actually, Vyasadeva is the incarnation, Sakyavase incarnation of Lord Krishna. But Valmiki's the literature skill is really marvelous. You have brought out so nicely that Sundarata of that Ramayana. Ramayana normally we say considered as Idihas, and it is actually underrated mostly. That Mahabharatam and Ramayanam are Idihasa, and it is not considered so just like Bhagavatam or other Puranas. So much beauty is there in this Ramayanam. You could bring out so nicely. Thank you very much. I really relish it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Sri Kamban was reciting his Ramayana. Narasimhadev inside the temple started laughing and enjoying it and raised his hand. Today the deity is there in Sri Rangam, where Narasimhadev is with his hand raised, enjoying Kamban's Ramayana narration and his writing. Amazing, amazing persons. those great personalities.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Myself, Chandan. Happy Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You have a question or a comment?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I wanted to say I'm also love listening and hearing the Ramayana, reading the Ramayana.
Oh,
But it was more about a story only. But as I'm listening from you, it's like tuning my knowledge, and actually you're more and more I'm eager to listen from you and eager to know about Ramayana. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
oh,
Thank you very
you're
much.
welcome. Thank you for inspiring me. To be honest, I'm just thief, taking pieces from here and there and putting it together. Though great souls who had these realizations are very, very amazing persons in history. When we owe a great debt to them for sharing with the world their realizations. Okay, we can stop here. Thank you. Next week, we will
Hare
start.
Krishna.
Yeah, Haribol.
I just want to quickly share one thing.
Yes.
I have an ill-formed question, if you can. Uh, I was actually appreciating this point. I just joined very, very late at the last minute, I think, literally. So I was just appreciating this point you made about how Sundarakanda is actually just a glorification of Guru Tattva. And then we also made this point about there because Hanumanji is very giving. He is not taking anything. So that's the point that I was appreciating. And then kind of a very ill-formed question that was forming was based on that point also actually was pardon me again because I'm not sure I understand it very clearly myself. The it is also possible that somebody in the position of a guru or a so-called guru, they could derive material benefit also perhaps from that position. So I was just trying to, trying to figure out that maybe the response is covered by a response from by response to Jyotirmay Mataji's answer. But
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, bro. Sounds good. Okay. Hare Krishna.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Shamakul.
Prabhu, would we have next week class? Because we have His Holiness Romapad Maharaj's retreat going on. So.
Yes, there is class. Those who can join, great. Otherwise,
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
Shamakul.
A very touching way in which you brought out the different beautiful aspects. I don't know who's the poet here who's written this, but I also feel that the devotees of Lord Ramachandra who are extolling the virtues of Lord Ramachandra, like Hanumanji, they are also so beautiful. They get imbued with characteristics which Lord Ramachandra wants to bestow on them. So it just came as a thought. Sundare Sundaro Dasaha, Yasya Nitya Ananda Pranaha Ramasya Charita. That's it.
Wow. Yeah. Very, I mean, very eloquently said, Shamakul. Thank you. There are so many devotees of the Lord who, I mean, when we hear the phrase for Bhagavatam, Shuka Mukad Amurta Davya Samyutam, that as generations pass, each person makes, when they hand it over, sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Therefore, the fruit on the top of the tree has to come to the person on the floor, on the ground, and it has to get passed on from one hand to another, and that's how it becomes sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. So these great, great devotees who have spent their entire life in dedication to serving the supreme couple and sharing with others, amazing. We're all the beneficiaries of something like that. All right, time to pause. We'll talk again next week. Thank you. May Sri Hanumanji, who's the hero of Sundara Kanda, continue to inspire us and make us very eager to hear the glories of Sita and Ramachandra in the Sundara Kanda. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanumanji ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.